The Forgotten Sunflower. One day, a little boy was walking past a pet shop in London when he saw a parrot sitting on a perch outside. The boy put his hand out and the parrot dropped a seed into it. The little boy, when he got home, showed it to his mother, who told him it was a sunflower seed, and if he planted it in the garden it would grow into a very tall plant with a large yellow flower. The boy put the seed into a pot of earth and watered it, and in a very short time a small plant with 2 leaves had grown. Other leaves then grew, and when it was quite high, he planted it in the garden and placed a long stick next to it to stop it falling over. Every night after school he would go and water it and feed it with plant food. One day in the summer, when the plant was taller, a small bud appeared which opened into a very large flower. Oh, the little boy was very pleased and would watch it out from his upstairs windows as it nodded in the wind, and many bees were landing on it. All his friends could see it from their gardens and were surprised that such a big flower had come from such a small seed. Soon the nights, though, became shorter and darker earlier, and the little boy stayed indoors more, forgetting about the sunflower. The flower had now lost its petals, and large new seeds were growing. The weather became colder and colder, but the flower was still happy, as it had lots of seeds which were growing, and he hoped that the little boy would come and collect them to plant them for next year. But as time passed by, the little boy did not come out to play in the garden. The days became rainy, cold and windy. Its big green leaves shriveled up and died, and its poor head had started to get mouldy in the centre. Water dripped off the sunflower head as though it was crying. Its head now drooped down, the flower unable to face the window the little boy had looked out from. The nights grew colder and the winds stronger, and soon the ground beneath the flower became white beneath the stem, and his head became covered with a hat of snow. His seeds were rotting, and soon he'd be no good for next year. Nobody wanted him, he thought, and his watery like tears turned to icicles at the bottom of his head. He tried to look up at the pale sun, when suddenly he felt something hopping on his head. At last he thought that his life had not been wasted. The hungry birds could now eat his seeds and survive the winter to produce their young next year. Little did he know also that some of the seeds had been dislodged by the birds and would survive the winter to grow into even larger sunflowers the next year.